Shopping. For some of us, it's a chore. For others, a social outing, recreation, or self-gratification. But whatever the motive, the way we shop and the places we shop in are changing. For many years, the local shops clustered in our suburban or town main street supplied us with our everyday needs. But with the changes that are happening around us, those shops down the street are under threat. People are now prepared to travel further to shop, especially if they believe they're able to find better quality service, variety and the best price. So threats include the large freestanding shopping centres that provide everything under one roof, complete with extensive parking. Big supermarket chains provide a one-stop shop for weekly shopping. All kinds of large specialist retailers and superstores offer a huge range of products at very competitive prices, made possible because of their massive wholesale buying power. Computer technology in homes means that it's possible to buy goods from other parts of the world using the internet. The convenience and popularity of gambling has meant that there's a new competitor for the consumer dollar. Demand for extended trading hours places additional stress on small retail operations. And the increased traffic along arterial roads, plus the creation of clearways, can dramatically reduce parking access to roadside shops. Not surprisingly, many small shopping centres and strips are struggling to survive. But there's the possibility, with an understanding of all these factors that are changing retailing in our society, that threats can be changed into opportunities. Roadside shopping centres are starting to recognise that their unique characters are a competitive edge, and that shopping is becoming more and more a leisure activity. And that's the theme of this video. Darebin is a new Melbourne municipality. It was created by the state government in 1994. The new city is home to over 4,000 businesses, and 1/3 of these are in the wholesale and retail sector. There's one large regional shopping centre, but the rest of Darebin's retailers are either in small centres or strips. It's these traders that are challenged by the changes that we've been talking about. And supporting and encouraging these businesses was recognised as being important by council because of the large number of people employed by this sector. For the traders, it's also about the survival of their businesses and increasing their income and profit. To meet the challenge, the officers of Darebin's Economic Development and Tourism Unit decided to develop a formal plan for the small business retail sector. The concept emerged to develop a strategy plan for one group of Darebin shops, which could then be applied to all the other Darebin shopping strips and centres. A strategy which would also be valuable for similar groups of small retailers anywhere. The purpose of the plan was identified as being identification of strengths and advantages that could be built upon, identification of constraints and issues that needed to be addressed, recognition of opportunities and options to be pursued, recognition of strategies that various stakeholders could implement, and the development of a consultation and business development model for other Darebin shopping centres and beyond. Funding to develop the plan was successfully sought from the Victorian State Government's Street Life program. The work started with Station Street, Fairfield. This was identified as a shopping strip with easily defined boundaries, an existing trader association and a mix of shops, ranging from businesses enjoying a good return on investment to fairly marginal operations.
It was an ideal area to start off with, to have a winner and to use as a model so that we can then take that Fairfield model and modify it for other strip centre shopping areas within Darebin and hopefully, outside of Darebin too. Hopefully this will be a model for the metropolitan area.
Station Street is a shopping strip with approximately 70 retail operations. It's been known for many years as a good place to buy food, especially meat. But these days the through traffic is very heavy, and like many other Darebin shopping strips, it's feeling the effects of the nearby central shopping centre, Northland, which has the advantage of a coordinated management organising promotion and cooperative marketing. Working with consultant Peter Kenyon and the Street Life funding, the first step was for the Darebin Economic and Tourism Development staff to establish good lines of communication with the Station Street traders and the local trader association.
Well, for me, the first thing that happened was that I went down and walked the streets, as it was, and met the traders. And when you do that, you start to hear about lots of issues, but there's always main themes that come out.
I like the traders meetings. I think everyone seems to talk about the same thing. Parking, well, we all seem to think is quite a big issue down here.
We lack of some facilities for customers, such as additional services in phone boxes, letter boxes.
Hopefully if we can reduce some of the traffic out there, it would be a lot better too.
I think it just looks a little run down. It looks like it needs some TLC.
One thing I'd like to see in the street is some sort of screening or petitioning, the Perspex screening that a lot of the streets are using now to protect the seated people that are eating out in the streets from the traffic and the cars.
A lot of these issues related to problems that were seen as the responsibility of council.
There's a tendency to think that that all the improvements have to occur on the street, yet I think that we really know that there's a lot of improvements that the traders actually have to take on board as well, to start investing back into their own business in things like facade and veranda restoration, in customer service training, in merchandising training, in window display, and leaving their lights on at night time, all that sort of stuff. It's half the time these issues are they're right under our nose. We know they're there, but it's just getting people to really acknowledge that we've got to do something about it, and it needs to be formalised.
Involvement of all the various stakeholders in the creation of the strategy was considered to be a critical component of the project. With this in mind, a series of workshops was organised to provide a forum for the various groups to have their input. A great idea, but the challenge here was to actually get people to come to the workshops. Techniques used by Darebin included weekly newsletters to traders, posters in shop windows, ads and editorial in the local newspaper, a letter drop to residents, flyers in school newsletters, and direct personal invitations. Before the workshops, another important step was to anticipate the key issues that were likely to arise. This information came from those informal discussions and a survey conducted with traders. And there are some lessons here from the way this survey was conducted. The response rate was a remarkable 92%.
I think going there personally made an enormous difference. If people receive a survey through the mail, they're less likely to take notice of it.
Based on the survey and the discussions, it was anticipated that the key local issues would include preservation of the railway station, presence of heavy vehicle traffic, trading hours, lack of public facilities in the street, and provision of extra car parking. The two workshops for traders and the one for the local community followed a similar format. An audio-visual presentation, specially designed by photographers Tony and Robina Summers, provided an attractive and thought-provoking introduction. Leanne, the Business Development Officer, briefly gave an overview about retail trends and the perceived threats to smaller shopping centres. Peter Kenyon provided examples of how other communities had changed their situation, led the group through an examination of the local advantages and weaknesses, and then encouraged discussion about the strategies that could be put in place to strengthen the Station Street shopping strip.
The main issue is what can we give to the customers? Not just car park, that won't solve the problems. What else can they have?
This is difficult. If you have a look in America, the 10 worst human fears, believe it or not, in America...
The use of a skilled facilitator meant that the workshops remained energetic and focused, and potential conflicts and negative attitudes were controlled.
A skilled facilitator is really vital to the whole process. You need someone with good communication skills, someone who can relate to the audience that they're talking to, whether they're traders, community, whatever, and someone who's got a bit of a track record and experience with other business sectors, other retail strip centres or other community centres, so that they can give you a bit of a comparison as to where yours fits.
Brian Keane, who features on another Street Life video, gave locals an outsider's perspective on what could be done to change the physical nature of the street.
In front of them and nothing else. And as in the city, exactly the same as out in the country, when you're driving along through the city, you think about it. When you're going somewhere, you get
landscaping has gone on, the mosaics that have been put into the street. There's obviously been some work done in developing up over time. You're probably aware, particularly if you want to sit out the front of some of your cafes, that it's a major arterial.
We do need motivation. This is a problem in a shopping strip like Station Street, is that you know, you lose your motivation after a while, and that's why I think that's important, and to get everyone revved up, just like the meeting last night did. A lot of people left with smiles on their faces because they could see that something positive was going to come from it all.
At the community meeting, the close relationship that residents had with the shopping centre was expressed, and concern was voiced over a local related issue, the preservation and improvement of the historic railway station. The station is a landmark building seen as a local icon in Fairfield. It's also an important entrance statement for the shopping centre and attracts shoppers to the Station Street shops.
Most of us think that the station is really a key feature of this area. We think that we're going to have a railway station anyway, and it's very important that we try and preserve the historical railway station that we've got.
Although the fight for the station might be seen as a bit removed from the work to improve the shopping centre, it's a good example of a local issue which in fact has brought together the community and the traders, improving a relationship which can only be good for business and community development. Running concurrently with the trader and community meetings was the implementation of a customer service training program, Aussie Host. For a number of Station Street businesses, the Aussie Host sessions were also a subtle introduction to staff training.
It was more than just customer service training from our point of view. It was the idea that businesses really need to take a long hard look at the importance of training and how it can benefit their business.
After the survey, workshops and Aussie Host training, the information gathered was assembled and drawn together into the actual action strategy plan for Station Street. The Darebin staff reviewed a draft strategy supplied by the consultant which outlined short, medium and long-term actions. They then identified responsibilities for actions, detailed possible funding sources, and, following feedback from representatives of the community and traders, the final document was designed in-house and printed. This strategy plan includes the redevelopment of Fairfield Railway Station, a shopping centre infrastructure improvement program with traffic calming, improved pedestrian access, increased car parking, streetscape, shop facade improvement, and community amenity improvements, and a business development strategy including implementation of a special rate levy for marketing and promotions, introduction of a street pride campaign, a skills development program, enhancement of networking between local businesses, encouragement of extended trading by provision of additional tenancies, improvement of the tenancy mix. Once the strategy plan was produced, it was presented to Council at a special meeting which involved using a similar presentation style to the Street Life workshops for the traders and the community.
It's important that it is sold to council. Councils are big places and there's lots of people working in different departments on different issues, and it's important that the council take some ownership over this process as well, and the issues, there's a commitment to deal with some of the issues that come out of it.
Another important aspect of the presentation to Council was to address the concept of the special rate levy.
It was the hardest part of the whole process. because up until then we'd been talking about all these fantastic ideas of what we could do in this strip to make it better, but the special rate levy was where we really found out what it was all about, because it hits people in the pocket, and that's obviously can be a sore spot for people. So it was really important that people actually believed in what we were trying to achieve, to feel that the special rate levy was the right way to go. And thankfully in Station Street we had that core group of people that really knew what this was all about.
After 4 months, the strategy plan for Station Street was in place, and a model had been developed for other Darebin shopping strips.
And it's just wonderful to see the council actually getting behind the traders and helping us help ourselves.
A similar process to develop a strategy plan for any small shopping centre or strip can be followed elsewhere. Employment of a consultant is one approach, but for other communities, the Trader Group, with assistance of community leaders and local government, has successfully managed the process. But remember that different solutions will be needed for each project, because it's the unique character of community shopping centres that's their #1 competitive advantage.